Okay, we're here again. This is Lance and Bonnie,
Hello.
and it's the beginning of a 3-day weekend.
Thank God. Or thank the unions, rather.
Lots of fun. And,
In other words, zero plans as usual.
yeah, I had to drive home in horrible pouring down rain.
And then I had to drive out in it. But towards the end, it lessened. Yeah, so how bad was the rain when you got on the 316?
Well, it was just, coming down so hard that you have to watch every moment to see if somebody's going to rear end you at the red light or if you're going to be hit, yeah.
Did you see waves of water? Because I saw
Yeah,
a wave through the air. It was blowing through. It was like this. The light caught it, and you could see the wave of rain, and it moved oppositionally to the direction it had been hitting the windshield, which was crazy. It tells you how bad the wind was.
Yeah, when I would stop at a red light, I could see it on the ground moving.
The water, you mean?
Yeah, and I didn't dare fool with CDs. I did listen to radio a little bit really loud because you had to turn it up really loud to hear it over the rain and the windshield wipers and.
Oh, all those bloody idiots with those bright, ultra bright white lights. Every time I came across them this morning, it blinded me. I couldn't see the lines on the roads, so I just flashed them right back.
Trying to think of it. We had a really bad week, and I'm really out of it. I feel guilty because I didn't work out tonight. I didn't work out yesterday because I was so beat, and I thought, well, I'll make up for it today, and I didn't. I didn't sleep very well today.
So you went 2 weeks without calling in?
Yeah, to make up for the week that I did call in.
Yeah, you had to call in. The funny thing is that Monday morning at 6 a.m., you had called in the night before for an entire week. 6 a.m., I sent an email to your doctor telling them exactly what was going on with you, telling that you needed to get emergency leave with their, backing you up, etc. And when I hadn't heard from them, by Tuesday noon, I called, and somebody called me back and said, "We don't give work excuses without such and such." Well, the doctor had said, if you ever need anything like that, call me and we'll write it. Well, today they got in touch with us. 3 weeks after we'd asked for the thing.
Yeah, they said, well, we can't just give you a note unless you've come into the office and had been seen.
And then today they're like, "Well, tell us the dates that you need for him to take off." I said, that was over with. That is done. It was weeks ago. And if it weren't for the fact that he had a union rep standing up and going, "This person really needs his time off and you're going to pay him," he wouldn't have been paid. Any other job, he would have been fired.
Yeah, and yet the Republicans and the Christians want to do away with unions and union rights that unions have fought for and made standard. Found out that a woman that I work with is leaving. I've been at that facility almost 8 years now. And, against your will, you begin to know people and become friendly with people. And then you're attached to them, and then they leave. And they said another person that's gone out of your life. It's depressing. And the funny thing is, without my knowing it, people begin to know me. And they begin to know what I'm like. And she said, "I got to tell you something, and you're not going to like it." "What?" And she goes, "Well, I'm leaving next week. I'm going to another facility." And I'm like thinking, how do you know that I don't like it?
People don't like change inherently. But you are particular. You like things done exactly this way, that way, etc.
I don't like to lose people that's one of the reasons that I don't get close to people easily. Because then they leave on you. It's like don't name an animal because it's going to die on you, and then once you name it, you're associated with it.
Oh man, that's sad. Now I'm thinking of Tickles the cat.
My mother brought that up on the phone.
What? The cat?
Yeah. She goes, "What was that cat you had before, Tickles?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, I remember the name. I didn't even realize I would remember it."
Oh my god.
That's been years ago now.
Yeah. So Reed called the other week, unable to find her cat. She's gone. She's gone. I dropped everything, drove over there. I finally got her on the phone as I was going over there. I said, okay, so now that I've got a moment to breathe and I've pulled over off the side of the road, what happened? The person came in today to work on the drip in the sink in the kitchen, and then afterwards she disappeared. Afterwards I realized I couldn't find her. I said, where are you now? She goes, I'm outside the neighborhood calling her name. I said, walk back inside the house and look in all the places you don't normally look. Okay? Behind the fridge, for example, on top of the counters. You said she never gets into the sink. Go check under the sink. A couple minutes later, I get a call. I'm almost to her house. And she said, I found her. I found her. She was inside. I said, where was she? She said, hiding behind the television. The television has all of 4 inches behind it. It's so close to the wall.
Did you go? Did you?
Screen. Yeah, I went over there.
You continued? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I stayed with her for a while. I gave her hugs. I walked in and I saw the cat. I said, did you scare your mommy? But, yeah, I stayed over there for a while. She still was very upset. It scared her because, she just got the cat last year. The poor little thing is a nervous little kitty anyway, and she's tiny. And so she babies her.
I haven't seen the cat yet.
You haven't seen the cat at all?
No, I haven't been over there.
Oh. When's the last time you went to Reed's house?
Probably when I went over there, I dropped off a piece of furniture. I can't remember what it was.
So close. It was the desk. The desk.
What desk? What desk was
The one
that?
that your mother had at her house? It was that old wooden desk she had at the yard sale?
Yeah. That I almost hurt my back getting that out of the car, putting it in and getting it out. I think Reed helped me take it up the stairs.
I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I helped her put it in the place. I hope she gets to stay there. But then on the
She's already assigned another lease.
yeah, but then again, on the other hand, I hope she can get her own house to own something because paying rent forever is a pain in the ass.
It's stupid, yeah. Yeah, as everybody knows now, the rent prices have skyrocketed and you're just at the mercy of these landlords. But she was fortunate in January. She was offered an early renewal for another year's lease. And it's the same rate, which is shocking. I mean, it's gone up 32% in the last 5 years. The place that she's at right now, the rentals on it, has increased by 32%. And for her, it represents an entire take-home paycheck each month.
I wonder what the percentage.
Pay.
I wonder what the percentage of American population is that rents versus owns. And then I guess there's also people who live with family.
As we well know.
There's a on average at 7:24 each evening, I pass by this house, and you can see in to the house that usually they're having dinner when I pass by, and there's an old lady that sits at the table with them. So I guess that's a grandmother that lives with them, and I guess that's nice that if they're able to do that. There's no way we could take in.
We don't have room. If Peter didn't live here, of course we take in Peter because with his condition he can only work half time, and there's no way he could afford anything with that.
He needs to get an office job. That way he could work full time.
don't know. He doesn't have much energy, Lance. Maybe this new medicine they're going to put him on will help. He has to get approved through his heart doctor first in March. And only after that will he get on the new medicine.
He needs to get hired at the university. Trying to think if anything happened. It was a really brutal week, and I just worked myself to death. And we had some people. God, I don't know how many months ago now. So he got into a huge fight. Well, I wasn't there when it happened, but people got into a big fight, and they were suspended, and they just now came back to work, and it's just, I don't know.
I don't know how people do that. I mean, they don't get paid.
No, they weren't regulars. And I don't even know how you get your job back when you're not a regular, when you're just a part-timer. But, I mean, we had a woman in Athens that wasn't a union member, and yet the union still fought to get her job back. Everybody in the country ought to be a union member, whether... I mean, they're like a union for everybody, whether you're in a specific union or not.
Germany's like that. There are a lot of unions. It's not just firefighters and cops like you think here, but over there they even have a military union.
Yeah.
And then there's the basic auto workers, but then there are general unions that you can belong to also. That was one of the problems when Walmart tried to go into Germany. They tried to do all these end runs, and it wasn't just the unions that said, you can't do that. The German government said, you can't go and offer these people this pay or this number of hours and not to give them some sort of benefits. So
I remember, this has been about 6 months ago, but I think some guy tried to unionize in a prison. Yeah.
in Germany?
No, here, I think.
Here?
Yeah. Maybe it was here.
It's hard to believe, given that they have slave labor here. I mean, paid 32 cents an hour, and they're contracted out to corporations and stuff.
That's all based on American Christian morality, which rules everybody's heads.
And also a hold over from what happened after the Civil War, where they established some rules and laws that basically allowed for enslavement of prisoners, slave wages, etc., living conditions, etc. And it was, so if you think slavery actually ended, it may have ended in one form, but when it came to prison, they made certain that you were still getting that same guaranteed cheap labor force.
Trying to think if anything happened this week. Well,
I can't.
I don't know. Did we discuss the Rammstein documentary?
Oh my God, that was a kick-ass documentary. I think we mentioned it last week how we thought Till was probably very depressing.
That's right. He always acts like he's just sad or...
Kruspa is the pretty boy and the most talkative one in the video too.
I can't believe how much... I can't believe they smoke. That's this thing that is amazing to me. It's much more... I mean, I guess people in America still smoke, but it's just so... The European attitude is like, yeah, we smoke, fuck you, what's the problem? But I do have a problem with it because it's a sign of stupidity. Yeah. It's like chewing tobacco.
And ignorant. It's not just ignorance, it's rudeness. It's just rude as hell because you're imposing it upon someone else.
Another thing that was strange to me was they were talking about what would you say? they want no. They want to do fireworks displays and a lot of the or use pyrotechnics in a lot of their shows. And local officials say, "Well, no, you can't do this. You have to do that." Blah blah blah.
And Chicago
and one of
right
them,
out.
Well, one of them said, one of the band members said, "And everybody in America takes their job so seriously." Well, isn't that a German trait?
It's a German trait. It's really funny that he would mention that.
Because a couple of years ago we watched a documentary about a British family living in Germany for like, I don't know, 6 months or whatever, and the guy gets a job in a pencil factory, and he goes, "Let's see what happens when I take my cell phone out." And immediately the supervisor comes over and goes, "You can't do that while you're at work." And so there's a example of, well, you got to take your job seriously.
Oh, it was more than that. Remember, they also said, "Oh, have you finished your task?" "Yes." "Then go and get the broom and sweep these floors." "What? It's not my job." "Yes, it is your job. You are to stay busy all the time."
Well, where I work, cell phone usage is ubiquitous, and
People,
it's against the rules,
Yeah.
but the supervisors won't crack down on it because they also are on their phones all the time too.
And it's people watching TV shows and movies on these tiny little screens, and they're driving around on trams and walking off mail and moving big huge equipment. One hand on the phone, looking at it, while they're kind of wandering aimlessly.
Or they have their earbuds in, and I'll say something to somebody, and they'll turn to me and yank one of the earpods out and go, "What'd you say?" I said that the building's on fire, and, whatever. The whole world's going to hell. That's all there is to it.
In a handbasket, no less. Yeah.
That reminds me, I told Bonnie this a couple days ago. We went to this Christian school, and I remember riding on the bus one day with this. I used to sit with this guy who was 2 years older, 2 grades ahead, and he said, I guess his preacher said this or something. He goes, my preacher suggested that the reason we're having so much volcanic activity lately is because hell is expanding. And, people really believe this crap.
They think the Earth is 6,000 years old. They think that dinosaurs, the bones were put in the Earth as, quote, apparent age to, to fool people or something? It was some sort of trick or something?
Well, that's the only answer you can assume.
I don't understand it.
And the flood, Noah's mythical flood explains everything. It explains continental shift. It explains layering of fossils. Blah 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 blah. It's just nonsense.
And the death of the dinosaurs. Yes, the death. And the behemoth in the Bible is actually references the people's recollections of walking among dinosaurs, and they bend over backwards for these stupid beliefs, trying to give them some credulity.
Yeah. I can't believe the number of people that contemporaries of mine that can't give it up, that haven't given it up.
We shouldn't have been surprised when Trump came to power, and no matter what was said, what was revealed about what an immoral, horrible human being he was, they followed him all the way because, oh, God said, this is the man God chose. They'll believe anything.
Yeah.
As my father said, if they believe that somebody died and rose from the dead 3 days later, then ascended to heaven, then they're willing to believe anything.
It'll be interesting to see who gets the Republican nomination, because in order to do so, they're going to have to, at the very least, cast aspersion. What's the word I'm looking for? They're going to have to say something negative about Trump, and at the very least, well, I can do a better job than him.
Yeah.
But you praised him to the skies 8 years ago. Well,
I mean, even Pence this week was going on about, I'm going to refuse Biden's DOJ request for testimony about my conversations with Trump about his attempt to rig the election and
How does he?
overthrow the election and
How does he
blah,
claim
blah,
it's?
blah.
How does he claim it's unconstitutional?
I have no idea. The man was
The legally
threatening-
mandated judiciary has told you we want your testimony.
Yeah, render unto Caesar, you stupid little bitch. Give it up.
Oh my God, I don't feel too good. I didn't sleep very well today. I'm having trouble finding a book in German to read. I ought to just give it up, but I've been studying German for 13 years now, and all that hard-won facility, I don't want to give it up.
And he still holds out the hope that someday, perhaps, we'll get to go and live in Germany. I doubt it.
Yeah, I know. It's pathetic. But the other recourse is to, get some high-paying job, move ahead in the company, and that was never going to be what my life course was going to be.
You don't tick the right boxes. You don't kiss the right asses.
And also, you have to think about the job all the time if you're going to do that.
Oh, and be willing to stay overtime. It's like that time they had you subbing for Tiffany, and they're like, well, you're going to have to cancel your vacation if you're going to... And you're like, what? No. You're going to have to stay over. Get everything done until it's done. And you're like, I've been here my 8 hours, and I got another 2 hours before I get home, you assholes. Yeah, I don't understand them either.
Well, it's bad enough that when I lay down to go to sleep, I think about sorting mail.
Jeez.
It's a horrible thing.
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago when I worked at the shoe store, part of the job was reordering the stock in the back room. I remember laying down to go to sleep and thinking about moving the boxes of shoes around, to straighten them up. And I thought, this is hell. It's bad enough you dream when you're in school that later that day you go to sleep and you dream that you're prowling the hallways naked, trying to avoid being seen.
That one. No.
I wonder if that's more of a male,
Prowling?
not
or
prowling,
naked or prowling
but like for some reason you're stuck at school naked and you've got to make your way around the hallway without being seen.
I don't know. Is it something associated with wanking?
Who is more afraid of being seen naked, men or women?
I don't know. I was always comfortable showing my bush, but not my boobs when I was having to change in front of others because my boobs are on the small side. I don't know. And then once you get married, it's like you don't think anything about it. You're just naked. Naked.
I don't know how people in Europe grow up with this nudist attitude.
That was another thing about the Rammstein videos. They were appalled at the Americans being appalled by nudity.
Well, also this whole they put on a big sex act thing, very crude on stage.
It was crude. I will give you that. It was very crude. It's not something I would have wanted to have paid for. But if you know what you're going to see, I mean...
Well, that's the thing. I really don't care about pyrotechnics or we're going to put on an act where we pretend to shoot semen all over the crowd.
Yeah, or being in a crowd with tens of thousands of people, rubbing elbows, shoved in, waiting for the death scene where somebody yells fire and everybody gets trampled. No, thank you.
I don't... That's the thing. I don't care about all that. If I go see a concert, I want to hear the music. And that's why that's one reason I was so disappointed with their last record, is because I really get the sense that they're going the Kiss route, which is, well, you know, we mainly make our money off the shows. The album will just be like, you know, a souvenir, and so we won't put as much effort into the music anymore. and it'll be just about making videos and the performance.
I did not know that they toured with Kiss in South America, and that one story about them going to like Brazil or something, and they're opening, and the entire audience starts booing and hissing and flipping them off and
Yeah,
telling them to go home. The guys were like, "What the hell?" It was the only place in the entire tour where they were told that. Apparently, these people were so hardcore Kiss addicts, they just wanted to see Kiss.
Yeah, and Kiss is just a hollowed out husk of what they used to be.
Yeah.
Of course,
And
they
this
were
was
always
in the
about the show.
2000s, and so they were well past their prime. They were still doing the tours.
They're pathetic.
Gene Simmons is disgusting.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing. I don't know. I was thinking about Frank Zappa, his concerts. They never had crazy lighting or pyrotechnics or anything else. It was just all about the musicianship. I mean, he'd do a little bit of
On
comedy
humor.
Yeah, but it wasn't all with a bunch of props and shit. What time we got here? We're close to the end. Oh God, I wish I was a little more pepped up. I wish I'd slept better today.
Oh, it was Valentine's Day. I got a pretty little book this week. There's all the Charlie Brown Valentine's cartoons from Lance. I thought that was cute. I finally went through all the cartoons. Thank you. That was sweet.
Well, good.
What was the Charlie Brown cartoon that the kids used to quote to each other? Santa?
It was an old Peanuts strip where Linus and Lucy are trying to fool Santa Claus because he watches all the time that they're good kids, and they're hugging and they go, "We're brother and sister and we love each other." And Charlie Brown goes, "You're not fooling Santa, you know." And one of them says, "Well, why not? We're a couple of sharp kids and he's just an old man." A couple of sharp kids.
Oh, God.
Sharp, that's the word that you don't hear much anymore. In reference to being on the ball. Oh, God.
The kids were great growing up. They progressed nicely into playing together. They started off, we went to that thing in Charleston, that vacation. We came home and we actually got cable for a couple of years. We haven't had it since 2003, but for a short while we had it, and they watched the Rugrats. And so they would play Rugrats with their Ken and Barbie. And then once they began to read, they started reading Calvin and Hobbes. And so the Barbie and Ken doll became Calvin and Hobbes. And then Reed and Peter became Calvin and Hobbes. And when Peter was 7, they had a Halloween parade at his school. And, you know, the Christians, they're also, "Oh, it's satanic nonsense," forgetting that, you know, it's All Hallows Eve and the history. So they have a book character parade instead of the Halloween character, and so you have to dress up like a book character. And Peter went in carrying a Calvin and Hobbes book and had his hair parted on the side, wore a striped shirt, and had a tiger doll with him. It was so cute.
Oh. What was that teacher's name? Miss Crumley? Was that her name?
There was a Miss Crumley.
The one that we have a photo of her somewhere. She's dressed up like a cat. She's got her nose is blackened with
I think that was McElroy.
Yes. She had something wrong with her nose. She talked through her nose.
Yeah, like a part of her nose was missing or something. Yeah, but she was a good teacher, but I had to take Reed aside and say, "Okay, so she's reading these stories in class. They're not real. It was Bigfoot stories and stuff."
Reed was obsessed with that for a while.
Yeah, she was. And I had to take her aside and said, "These are just, you know, tall tales and myths and stuff, just like the Bible." And I said, just, I know it's your teacher saying these things, and it's fun to learn about these things, but you need to understand that it's not the same level of things as, like we're learning with science and math and history. So, don't go falling for this stuff. As kids, they're vulnerable. That's why they have the whole Christian indoctrination, vacation Bible school, and Sunday school. You just get them while they're young and sucker them in.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've reached the time limit on the show.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Okay. Is that about it?
Bye.
All right. See you later. Bye.